Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Karen Aguilar, and Karen's going to talk with us about home inspections. And if you can hear us okay, if you don't mind, just go ahead and type yes or okay into the comments, and that would be great. And before we get started, one thing I do want to mention is if you're serious about buying a home or selling a home, give us a call. We'd be happy to give you some great advice, point you in the right direction. There's never any obligation to work with us. You might choose to work with us, you might not, but either way, we're happy to help you out. You can go to showcasecall.com to schedule a time for us to talk. And so we'll go ahead and get started. What we're going to be talking about today is actually buying a home. When you buy a home, some buyers will get a home inspection. Some buyers won't get a home inspection, and that home inspection can be pretty important, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely. It is. It is very important.
What would you say is like one of the main reasons for getting a home inspection?
I would say I look at it as a physical exam on your own body, except this is the house. When you go and take a look at the properties, you usually want to, everybody looks at, the kitchen looks great, all the upgrades, if there's any, etc. But we never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Is the AC working? Is the heating system working? There's other underlying things that we don't look at whenever we go and look at properties. So it's always a good idea to get your own, home inspection. Also, if an inspection has been done by the other party, like the listing agent, the seller's agent, get a copy of it, ask for it. Any report that the seller gets, as a buyer, you're entitled to receive them at no cost to you. And you can go ahead and review them and, just see what somebody else did, found, and compare notes.
Okay, cool, thanks. So if you're just joining us, let me tell you real quick, if you're serious about buying a home or selling, you can go to showcasecall.com, schedule a time for us to talk. Whether you choose to work with us or you don't, we'll be happy to give you some great advice and point you in the right direction, and you can't go wrong. So you can just go to showcasecall.com and click a few buttons to get scheduled with us. And so if you are just joining us, what we're talking about today is buying a home. We're talking about whether or not to get a home inspection. And Karen was just walking us through some things. She was telling us, for one thing, what the home inspection is. And like she said, it's kind of like a physical exam. When you go to the doctor, you get that exam and you find out, what's right and what's wrong. And so on the home inspection, it's kind of the same thing. You can have a house that looks fantastic, but once the inspector goes through and checks out the plumbing, the electrical system, the heating and air conditioning, things like that, then, it may turn up some things that aren't so great about the home. And that might cause you to want to if you're working with the agent, the listing agent directly, you're going to have to talk with that agent about maybe reducing the price or giving some type of credit or doing some kind of repairs. If you've got your own agent, then you're going to do the same thing, but that agent's going to go to work for you. If you're dealing with the listing agent is more or less kind of representing the seller. So that's a couple of things that we just talked about. And Karen, you also mentioned, you and I talked about this once before. Let's say that a property fell out of escrow, and now you as the buyer, you're coming along and now you're buying that property. Like we were talking about, that buyer has a right to ask, why did the home fall out of escrow? And if the house fell out of escrow because of home inspection, then that buyer also has the right to get a copy of that inspection if the seller has it. Is that right?
So many times when a property falls out of escrow, the agents don't go out and, shout out, hey, it fell out of escrow due to property condition. For instance, it'll say, and sometimes it doesn't even say anything, but you can see from when it went from active to active under contract or pending, and now it's back active. You know, and sometimes the listing agents it'll say buyer failed to perform. As a selling agent, whenever I'm working with my clients, and if I come across a property that says that, I usually reach out to the other agent and, you know, try to get more information about it. Like, okay, like what happened? Why didn't the buyer perform? You know, what caused for that buyer not to perform? And it could be multiple reasons. They could say, well, they couldn't get a loan. Oh, okay. Did you guys get the property inspection done? Yes, we did. Okay. Can I get a copy of it? And this is even before I'm submitting my offer, okay? Because a lot of times it may be you know, if it's a really bad issue with the property, and, you know, why bother to go show it?
Okay.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, if a property ends up having like some major foundation issues, you know, nobody wants to take on those things. Are they fixable? Yes, they are, but they're expensive too. So just, you know, going on the extreme.
Got it.
But yeah, you do have the right to ask for it before even checking out the property.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. I think buyers would like to know that if they were making an offer on a property that fell out of escrow.
Absolutely.
So if you're just joining us, I just want to tell you this real quick. If you're serious about buying or selling a home, give us a call. Whether you choose to work with us or not, either way is cool. We're just happy to give you some great advice and point you in the right direction. And you can go to showcasecall.com to get scheduled with us there. And there's no obligation, no pressure from us. Just like to see if we could help you out. And if you are just joining us, what we're talking about right now is we're talking about buying a home. We're talking about home inspections. And we talked about why to get an inspection. We talked about property falling out of escrow. Let me ask you this, Karen. Let's say that the seller already has a inspection report. The house hasn't fallen out of escrow. It got listed. The seller happens to have an inspection report and says, hey, you don't even need to get an inspection report, Mr. Buyer. I've got one right here. Would you still recommend that the buyer get an inspection?
Yes, I still do. And again, I'm not saying this happens, but I kind of have to play devil's advocate. You know, this could be a buddy of the seller, you know, and oh yeah, you know, let's do this. Or sometimes but let's say they did it, okay, and on the disclosures, the transfer disclosure, it'll say, you know, property had repairs done according to inspection report, and this is what we did. And they'll list the items that got repaired on that transfer disclosure, the TDS.
Hopefully you got all of that. We had a call come through. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about buying a home. We're talking about home inspections, and we're just going to kind of wrap it up here. One thing we talked about is should you get a home inspection or not? And we definitely recommend one. We recommend one to every buyer we work with. We also talked about why to get an inspection. You might find a house that looks gorgeous, looks pristine, it's perfect. But if the home inspector comes in and starts doing his or her thing, it might turn out that the electrical system is shot, or there was some work done to the plumbing and it wasn't done correctly, or who knows. But you want to get that inspection. It doesn't mean that the inspection comes back and there's a lot of, you know, bad things and you don't buy the house. It just means the inspection comes back, it lists bad things, and now you're informed. You can decide to move forward as is. You can decide whether or not to ask the seller to reduce the price, issue a credit, or to fix these items. But at least you're buying the house with the knowledge of what's really wrong with it, because you're not going to be able to see everything. The house could look fantastic, but you're not going to know everything about it. Also, we talked about if you're purchasing a property that fell out of escrow, find out why it fell out of escrow. If it fell out of escrow because the previous buyer got an inspection done, but the inspection showed a lot of repairs and that's why the buyer backed out, you're entitled to get a copy of that inspection so you can see what's going on too. And that may be some things, like Karen said, you may want to do those kind of things before you ever make an offer. So it could save you some time. We also just talked about what to do if the seller is providing an inspection. You don't know, that inspector might be the seller's old buddy from high school and kind of did him a favor, or the seller might have paid the inspector extra money and said, hey, make this thing look good. You don't know. I mean, that's kind of like worst case. That probably doesn't happen that often, but you want to protect yourself. We don't recommend using the seller's inspection as your inspection. We recommend that you get your own. And then kind of the last thing that we'll cover real quick, because we're actually here at a home. We're in escrow on this house. How big is this house? How many?
This is about 4,000, a little bit over 4,000 square feet home.
So this one's about 4,000, a little bit over 4,000 square feet. We're actually waiting on the inspector to show up right now, which is why we thought, hey, we'll do a little video on home inspections. But your home inspection is going to vary based on like the square footage of the home. And then also
what add-ons you want on it, like a sewer inspection that usually runs, you know, 250 and more. And
now, would the home inspector do that inspection too, or that's a specialty that somebody else does?
Some inspectors do it. You know, they're certified to do that, and others don't. You have to go and get somebody else to take care of that for you.
Cool. So the price of the inspection is probably going to depend on the size of the house.
Yes.
What would you say the ranges of price are typically that you see?
I usually see anywhere between $350 up to $1,400.
That's a pretty big range. Why such a big range?
You can go from a condo that's only 500-600 square feet to, you know, now we're talking about over 4,000 square feet. So the bigger the home, the more time. So, you know, on a condo, you're looking at about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. Something like this is probably gonna go anywhere between 3 to 5 hours.
Oh wow! So the guy's gonna be here for 3 to 5 hours.
Yes,
got it.
It's a long inspection.
Yeah,
this is a long inspection.
Yeah, very cool. So guys, hey, in case you're just joining us, we're getting ready to wrap things up. But before we do, I just want to remind you, if you're serious about buying a home or you're serious about selling a home, give us a call. You might want to work with us. You might want us to help you to buy or sell. But even if you don't, we're happy to give you some great advice. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll never pressure you to do anything or make you feel obligated to work with us. But you could give us a call. You can just go online to schedule a time to talk. The website is showcasecall.com. And once you get on there, you can click a few buttons and get scheduled with us. And if someone wouldn't mind, if you would, just type that in the comments, showcasecall.com. That way we've got an easy link for the folks watching. And we're just going to kind of sum it up. Hey, if you're buying a house, get a home inspection. You know, get a home inspection, get your own. Don't depend on the one from the seller. But if the seller has one, there's nothing wrong with getting it and taking a look at it. Might give you some like a heads up before you make an offer on the house. But you definitely want to get your own home inspection, because it could reveal something that could be a deal breaker for you. You might say, hey, I don't want to buy this house, or you might want to go back to the seller and get some kind of reduction on the price or some kind of credit. Anything else, Karen, you think we should add about home inspections?
No, I think that covers it up. And I mean, you have other inspections, like, you know, for termites, for instance, the home inspector will make a reference, hey, you know, I recommend you guys get a termite inspector. But, you know, again, depending on the agent who you're working with, usually you want to go ahead and have that in your contract so that it gets scheduled. Now, for that, somebody doesn't have to be here, because the termite people will come into the premises and start checking, you know, but that could be a different topic. Because there's a couple of things, you know, that you want to know about that too. So
you definitely want to know more about termite. We'll cover that on another video. Maybe on another video we'll talk about specialty inspections too. You can get a foundation inspection, you can get a roof inspection. Those things aren't always suggested. Different situations that you might be in where you'd want to get those kind of specialty inspections. We'll cover something like that on another video. Or if you got a question about it right now, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer it. So just wrapping up, one last time, go to showcasecall.com. You can schedule a time to talk with us. That'll be great for you if you're really serious about buying a home or selling a home. Just get scheduled with us to talk. And whether you decide to ask for us to help you to buy or sell, either way is cool. We'll never pressure you to do anything. We just want to give you some help and point you in the right direction, make this whole process better for you. Okay? All right, hope you have an awesome day, and we'll talk with you next time.
Have an awesome day, guys.
Take care.
Bye.